With work never slowing down here at the shop, tasks such as editing and needing to really tap in and tune out the noise around us, Raycon has outfitted us with a premium audio product in these everyday earbuds. The comfort on these allow us to use them in the shop throughout the work week seamlessly, and makes me wonder how we ever operated prior to having these earbuds. The extended battery life of 32 hours and 8 hours of playtime make worrying about charging or them dying on you way less of a hassle while working or on the go. The pricing on these earbuds and other Raycon products are super affordable, giving us that premium audio experience. Tens of thousands of 5-star reviews can back us up on the quality experience of Raycon as a whole. Things such as customizable sound profiles, noise isolation, earbud tap functions, and an awareness mode make these a no-brainer for us down at the shop. Help to support the channel by clicking the link in the description box below or heading to buyraycon.com/JimmyO to get 20% off your Raycon purchase plus free shipping. Go shop Raycon and let's get back to the video.
What is up, everyone? Last video we pulled out Nasanda. Right, we pulled it out of the dungeon of cars in the back, the out of sight, out of mind corner, and well, honestly, in the last video, we got a lot of great engagement, a lot of awesome comment from you guys. You guys showed a lot of love, and honestly, I appreciate it to the moon. We put a lot of work into stuff down here, and to see good engagement on projects is always like a heartfelt thing as a builder and I guess as an influencer, right? Today, it's Friday, and we figured we'd end the week off by doing some stuff to Nasanda because she deserves it. You guys want to see it? I love that you guys want to see it, and well, Nasanda, it deserves it. So we talked about getting this thing drift ready finally, so we can have Brian drive it. He did a couple laps in it, but he hasn't officially driven it, and we have our first drift event of the season coming up next weekend, and I want him to have a car because his car is, well, being a BMW, and it's broken. It is what it is. So today we have a couple things we got to do, but we got to start with one of the major issues right now, and we're having a crazy fuel sloshing issue, right? Because I put a cheap eBay fuel cell on this thing when we built it. All right, our budget was super low. It was my first fuel cell I've ever used. I never had an excuse to use a fuel cell. Small, not efficient, and when we drift, even with the foam and the baffling on the inside, the fuel is sloshing, right? So what happens is the momentum of the drift is pushing all the fuel in the cell to go back and forth, right? And with that, with the pump in the center, as visualizing this, when the fuel goes, it creates a dry spot in the pump, which creates low fuel pressure, which makes the car break up, which isn't good.
Not happy.
Not happy. Not good for anything. We're gonna fix that. So we need a surge tank, right? We need a tank to actually hold a little bit of fluid that can make up for those dips in fuel pressure in the fuel cell, right? It's almost like a capacitor, but for fuel, right? So of course, DW makes a solution for that. So we have two, I gotta stop saying so. We're bringing up old cars, I'm bringing up old habits. I think I changed so to right.
And now you do so and right.
So and right. Sorry guys, I'm human.
I try to cut out as many as I can.
Do so bad. Right? All right. So, how do you start a sentence? Whatever. D-Works makes a couple different size surge tanks, right? So right here we have a 5.5 liter and we have a 2.5 liter, right? Both amazing options. This piece, the 5.5, is gnarly. Look at this thing. It is absolutely beautiful. Full aluminum billet, top and bottom, dual pump, big old fittings on it. You could make up to 2,000 horsepower on this damn thing. This thing is absolutely beautiful, but for Nasanda, it's honestly a little overkill, and well, it doesn't fit that nice in the trunk because we're a little space limited. So, cut that out. D-Works makes a 2.5 liter. Look at this thing, and this thing is pretty. Mainly because it has the O's on. No, I'm kidding. This is a beautiful piece. I really like the fit and finish of it. This will fit in any car. You can just mount it nice against anything, right? And fuck, now I'm like
so aware of it.
So aware of it. I mean, I should get like a zap collar, and every time I say right or so, just spoon would take it. Look at that. Yeah, no, okay. Even though this thing looks small, it has some high capabilities. Grant is using this on his pro car. It'll be no issue. This is enough of a buffer zone of fuel to allow us to make sure we don't lose fuel pressure on those high slosh conditions with this surge tank. Right? Definitely a piece that I should be utilizing a lot more in a lot of my especially factory gas tank drift cars. And well, today we're finally gonna do one. And we'll probably end up putting one on every single car after this. Like I said, it's nice and small, so we can mount this thing anywhere. I think it's gonna look really pretty right in the corner.
Right out of the way.
Yeah, right out, which is really easy. So today, we get to learn how to install a surge tank. So let's go. So before we talk about too much of the tech details of it, we gotta get this thing set up. What's nice is we have 2 points for fuel pumps. So if you wanna do dual fuel pump, you can. A nice option about this, if you don't wanna run like an inline style pump, keeps things convenient being able to use a standard drop-in style pump, right? OEM, we'll call it OEM drop-in style pump. Since this will now be the main driving force of fuel into our fuel rail, we need to make sure that we spec this out to have enough pressure and flow to accommodate for our horsepower, which the DW300 will be plenty. So let's do one of these. There we go. Now we can take this thing, and it's just like a little baby fuel hanger right there. What do you think, Steve? Good piece or what?
A nice piece, man. Pause, but yeah, this is good. Is this really on there? It's not even a sticker.
Yeah,
too.
How cool is that? I love that.
So it's just a baby fuel cell that goes next to your big fuel cell. So because there's no baffling in the other one, and this makes up for the baffling.
Yeah, exactly, right? So the big fuel cell is gonna basically make sure this thing's almost always overfilling, right? We're gonna have fuel pump into it, and it's gonna always kind of recycling back into the factory, we'll call it the factory cell, right? Yeah. So what happens is, since the volume is so small compared to the pump, we will never deplete a large section of this ever, right?
No slosh.
There really won't be a huge window of we'll say not fuel. Yeah. Like, and so since the volume's so small, there's really nowhere for the fuel to slosh. So this pump, the pumps that's driving the rail, will always have fuel. Make sense?
Yeah.
So the pump that's in the tank is driving this.
Yeah. So
now this pump.
So we're gonna think of the fuel tank as an auxiliary fuel tank, right? It's just making sure that our little baby fuel tank is always filled, since this is really easy to keep full all the time. Yeah. Versus our large tank, it can't stay full all the time. Any drift car should have this. It's really a necessity. We don't do it enough. You know, a lot of guys that drift with stock tanks, the trick is to always keep your tank full. It's like the 350Zs, you see it a lot. The BMWs, you see it a lot, where it's like if you get under a half tank, you do an entry, your car shuts off. Bad. You could hurt your engine. If you're leading a train and your car shuts off, everyone's getting smacked, especially the middle guy. Like, it's just not a good time. So
Surge tank.
And let's look at it. It's small. It's perfect. Mount this anywhere. So let's get this on, and let's get fittings on all the ports here. Ready? Boom. Now the next tricky part is figuring out where to mount this thing. Okay. Seems sturdy. Somewhere like right here. What do you think? That'll look nice.
Yeah, it looks good right there.
Yeah. The target is the rear end, like it's so symmetrical in here that like if you were to put something in it, it would kind of throw the whole vibe off, but function over form, baby. So we need to make a whole plate that holds this thing, because there isn't enough surface area to just bolt this thing in. There we go. So now we have a mounting point, so we can get this thing and we could mount it somewhere around here. Doesn't rust. And then our favorite, rib nuts. Cool. And now we have threaded inserts to mount our surge tank. Nice and easy. Perfect. Boone's been working his ass off getting the Pro car ready, and he finalized the majority of the front, right? So it's all stitch welded, it's all reinforced, it's all plated, and the big thing is our front tubes. Look how good it came out. So this is now the main structure of the front of the car, right? So we reinforced the tower with this bar, and then this basically gave us a new structural point in, well, a crash zone. Our rail's enforced, our tower's enforced, and this thing is sturdy again.
It looks like a tank.
It looks like a tank. You're playing games with me, you're probably gonna lose.
Call these the around and find out bars.
Yeah, stay on the gas. This will be our foundation. Of course, we have to build a little bit more off this to support the headlights and of course mount the intercooler and everything like that, but this is our foundation, and it's now time that we can get this thing sealed up. And well, did a good old fashioned outside spray job. more Zanky red that's covered, the happier I get. I'm so sick of seeing that color. It's like, I swear to God, when Zankies are that color, I swear they're cursed because they're always, well, not the nicest cars. Spoon, do you feel like you're in high school again, spray painting engine bay outside in the driveway or what?
I painted actual bays and cars and driveways.
Oh, I know, but I'm talking about with spray paint.
No, actual paint.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I was always better than that.
We're spraying it now. We're sealing it up because there's a lot of bare metal, and the more, since we're bare metal, the more likelihood it is to rust, and we have to clean up all the rust and do this again, right? So we're using Steel It. We're not sponsored by them or anything. We just really like this product. It goes straight to bare metal, which is really nice. It's thick.
Not a paid partnership.
Not a paid, yeah. I wish it was, but
make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. Right? It's good stuff, right? It goes straight to bare metal. It's durable, semi-weld through. You can weld through it. It's not as easy as weld through primer, but you can weld through it, and it blends into itself really nice. Now that we have it sealed up, when we add more bracket stuff to the car, it's really easy to then touch up the brackets, right? You weld right to it, and then when we go to spray it, it blends into itself really nice, so it doesn't look like we just randomly spray painted one corner. A lot of guys powder coat their chassis. We thought about it heavily, and especially for this season, we figured doing a Steel It kind of in and out would be a lot better for the car. We're not going to do the body panel Steel It, of course, but it allows us to really modify it a lot throughout the year. And then maybe next season, if we have the car super figured out and dialed exactly how we want it, then we'll think about powder coating it. But for now, this will do. A lot of guys use this stuff. It just works. Just expensive. The gray kind of looks sick, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a good color.
Honestly.
And it's neutral. It goes with like everything. So. While Spoon's finishing that up, we gotta finish this up. So, got it mounted with the rear paneling, which is really nice. This thing's sturdy.
It looks great.
It looks good, right? That's a really nice piece. A 2.5 liter, super casual. I think that'll fit any car and look good. Now it's time to plumb this thing. So we have 4 bungs on this thing, right? So we have 4 lines that need to go to this thing. Let's think of this as our main fuel tank now, right? So we're gonna have to feed the rail, which is off the pump, and then we're gonna have to return from the rail or from the regulator, right? So we'll say from our engine back into this thing, right? So it's like its own system. And then this, all this thing is doing now is essentially making sure this is full all the time. Feed and return to the front of the engine, and we have to do a feed and return from this. When this is over pumping it, it returns back into the normal cell. Luckily, I made my life a lot easier in the past, so pass Jimmy. Nice work, you did great. Hard to see back here, but I put bulkheads on the floor pan, and you see I actually wrote, where is it? Do you see it? Feed and return off the bulkhead. Nice work, Pass Jimmy. You're sick. We get to just go straight off there. We don't have to run any new fittings, new lines, or anything like that to the front of the car. We literally could just, let me get my AN wrench real quick. And so this is our return, as it's marked. Pass Jimmy, you are strong. This will be our return from the rail. Our return into the main tank. Yeah, you can stay right there. We could reuse these lines, that would be amazing. All right, so at least now all the new lines we gotta make, we only have to make them inside the trunk here. I always like to dry fit all my AN line ends first, just to make sure they're gonna run optimally, and well, then we can measure for the line length. We have kind of a hodgepodge of fittings here, between colors, fitting style, and angles maybe aren't optimal. Like a 180 would fit so nice on here, go straight down, whatever. So it's not gonna be exactly how I like it, but it's still gonna look good. This was the last AN fittings. I didn't realize we were so low.
Hey, we're trying to get to the track.
We're trying to get to the track. So, all right, we got a bunch of AN lines to make, so let's get to it. You gonna want longer, Austin, or shorter?
Longer, give us some more space.
Yeah, give her some room.
I
like that right there.
Is this one of the things that you hate doing, or?
AN fittings? I hate doing them when I don't have a lot of time. They're just tedious. If I have the time, it's nice. It's like a little puzzle. It's fine. But when you're in a rush, it sucks because you're like, oh, that's fine. You know, like,
it's definitely gonna leak.
It's definitely gonna leak. No, not that. It really mess up an AN fitting for it to leak. I say that and then whatever.
Yeah, you better knock on glass.
Yeah, I definitely give myself some bad juju on that one. When you have good AN fittings, it makes life a lot easier. The DW AN fittings, like, I love them. I'm not just saying that. They're also one of my favorites. The best is the silver too. Like this one right here, because it looks good on any color system and they don't scratch, which is huge. Because like I don't care like if you're using aluminum wrenches, if you're using rags, you always scratch these AN fittings. They always scratch, especially if you have to service your fuel system. It's like, you just know you're gonna scratch them. Last hose, let's see how I did. happy we did this because it made me realize this was my last piece of AN line. It just had an inch extra on it, so I got very, very lucky on this one. It looks not too bad.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad, right? Group them together, it looks good. Like, I'm super, super hyped on that. So the worst part about any project is wiring. Everyone dreads wiring. That being said, I was very fortunate because we had extra output for another fuel pump in my chassis harness, so I was literally able to just tie into that, so that was easy. But if you got to wire into something that's factory, of course, you could always use the signal that turns on your existing fuel pump to trigger a relay to use that, right? So you don't have to get like a fuel pump control or anything like that. We literally just use the signal that powers your fuel pump from your factory tank to trigger your relay. Let's get these on and test her out. So our tank now is empty, right? So the car's not gonna start. So we have to prime it a couple times to get the fuel into the actual tank itself before it'll actually run. If you have a standalone ECU, you can just kick the fuel pump on. If not, you just cycle the key a bunch of times. Well, I hear them, that means I wired them right. Should start.
Nice.
Nice. I gotta clean the cold start tune, but look at that. The operation getting the Sonda to its prime. I needed to think about that.
Sonda gets to the track.
When Sonda gets to the track 2024. Nice too is even with the DW300 in this thing, it's not loud at all. Like sometimes you put these aftermarket pieces in it and it makes it really loud and annoying, but you can put this street car, you don't even hear it. But fits good, looks good, it's gonna work good, everything's good. Very excited. That was about 3 years later. Sorry, D-Works. So we still need to get a hydro in this thing, or the master cylinder, but we're waiting for that to come in. So one of the last major things about the Sonda, which is kind of a big deal, is the fact that we have no working gauges, right? We have a stock dash in there, but what does it tell us? RPM. Wow. But we need a lot more information than that if we're gonna drift this thing. And I can't always have my laptop in the passenger seat. And well, I don't want to buy a digital cluster, right? They're really expensive. I'm gonna they're like $1,500.
Yeah.
Just to check your coolant temp. You know what I mean? It's like really what you need. So we got the next best thing, and I think this is probably one of my favorite products by Link. And I'm not saying this as like a salesman, but honestly, just as a car guy, we have the Link can gauge, right? So what this is a typical 52 millimeter gauge right here, but it'll tell us all the information we need to know. This will go in a single gauge pod. You could put it on your A-pillar like it's 2005. You could put it in a vent. You could put it somewhere. You can put it anywhere, and this will give us all the information we need when driving our car that we might need to be concerned about. With a drift car, since you're constantly putting these things to the limits, you kind of have to keep an eye on your gauges, and this will basically tell us everything that we need to know from the ECU. You could run extra gauges. Say you want a boost gauge, so you throw a boost gauge sensor in there and do all that, but there's no reason to do that because your ECU already gets all that information. It gets coolant temp, it gets boost, it tells you your AFRs, everything that your ECU sees. This will tell you, one gauge. We don't have this big square flashy thing in front of us. We have this, easy. So
keep it simple.
Keep it simple, and it's a hell of a lot cheaper than a big ass digital dash. Every street car with a standalone in it should get this thing. Let's wire it first, and then we'll figure out
where it should go.
Where we want to mount this thing after. We get lucky, right? Because this thing comes with its own harness. So I'm gonna tell you how freaking easy this thing is. To get this thing to work, if you already have a Link.
Step one, have a Link.
Step one, have a Link. I'm pretty sure this thing will work with other standalones, so can confirm that, but I'm pretty sure it will. But step one, buy a Link. It comes with its own harness, so this thing literally plugs right into the back of it, right here, right? And since this communicates via CAN, it's super simple, right? If you look, we have 5 wires. Orange, this will be our dimmer. So if you want it to dim with your gauges, that's really cool. You can run this. I believe this is dimmer. And then we have a Deutsch connector on the end, which is just a universal plug that's really easy to get. And what we have is a red, black, white, and green. Red and black is, as you can imagine, power and ground. So we'll put that on switch power and ground, which we'll get from anywhere because it's low amps, so you can kind of tie in anywhere. Green and white is can high and can low. Green like the grass, White like the sky. Alright, well, get it? Let's wire this thing in. It's been a long time since I've been under here. Gotta get reacclimated, but this is a wiring specialties harness, so we should have enough inputs from them. Oh gosh, I'm stuck. Cramping
On the bucket seat too.
Not good. So I learned that past Jimmy didn't finish with this cable management on this car. So I have everything ripped down. We're gonna clean it up, don't worry. Everything is, it looks way worse than it is. It's just not organized. I'm very lucky because I have a Panic made Monsoon to stock KA jumper harness, right? And he actually had the wires out for, I guess a can, we'll call it a CAN expansion, right? So using any CAN system. And I just switched it to a Deutsch connector. So ready? Installed.
That was convenient.
That was convenient, yeah. The thing comes with the CAN gauge comes with the other end of the Deutsch connector, so you just pin it, you're done. So let's plug in, get this thing to work, and well, you guys can see how good it is. Not good with words today. We're gonna pull out a little cheat sheet here. It's gonna show us how to set it up in our ECU, so it sends the correct data, sending the correct CAN data. So now we should have it right here. There we go. So look at it. Right now, with the current configuration on it, we just have coolant and TPS. Ready? TPS should move. Yeah, that's fire. I don't know why you'd care to have TPS on here.
Coolant and oil pressure.
Yeah, it's literally all we're gonna need. So we're gonna mount, oh, there's our new dash right there.
Duct tape it down.
Yeah, duct tape it right there. That's everything. Here, we'll show RPM. It should show RPM right off the rip. This is just off the rip. Gonna load.
Nice.
There you go, nice. It's really smooth. It's nice. You'll see with like cheaper gauges, like it'll be really notchy looking and it's a pain in the ass. So luckily we're able to put almost any information that the ECU gets onto this thing. We just gotta configure it. And luckily there's an app for it. How cool is that? So let's open the app and get some better information on here other than just coolant temp and Celsius and RPM. This is sick. You could change your whole configuration in grid if you wanted to. Let's see. So this is all the information that we can get from the ECU. So I want to do coolant temp, so Brian doesn't blow this thing up. Oh, there's a warning. I'm gonna do 205, all right? That's sick. Number of gauges, 4, what? Oh, look, we could put 4 things on one page. All right, let's do coolant temp, let's do boost. So I made a couple maps, it's sending it over. We should be good to go. We're keeping it simple for now.
Think it has Wi-Fi?
Yeah, this thing has Wi-Fi. How cool is it?
That's mad cool.
You got games on this thing?
Games on your phone?
You got that game on your phone? Play Tetris on your CAN gauge. For our main, we got coolant temp, we got boost, RPM, and flex percent. So like our ethanol content percentage. Second page, I just did coolant temp and RPM, which is basically all Brian's gonna really stare at. It's just coolant temp. Make sure the thing doesn't overheat.
So you can do multiple pages.
Yeah, oh yeah, you can keep going,
sick.
right? And then this one, I did a little diag page, right? So I did ignition timing and injector duty cycle. So if it starts running a little funky, I could switch over and see if something's happening. That's it. That's really what you're gonna want to see right there.
That's so cool.
So honestly, like even just getting it in here would be nice. So you're like looking right at it.
Right past the steering wheel right there.
Exactly. Or I can mount it above the switch panel right here. But I kind of like it right here because you could like be mid-drift without having to like really like, you know, look over what you're doing. That's huge. That's huge. That is definitely needed for sure. We're getting there, boys. We're getting there. 2 major things knocked off the list in the Sonata. We still got some stuff to go, but we're getting there. As much as I want to go rip it and test our slosh tank, there's like a whole high school track team running circles in the parking lot, so we're not gonna get away with it this time.
Not yet.
Take them out.
CAN gauge, hot below shop Jamil. Do something. If you need help with them, let me know. DM me. But it's a good piece. Honestly, every street car with a standalone should have it. So, because that's not over, we still gotta get this thing in check. And before we rip on it, I really wanna throw this thing back in the dyno. It's been sitting for a long time. We wanna clean the tune up. The dyno's been amazing. We could really get a good baseline to see what this thing's actually doing. And, well, it honestly needs it. Such a good freaking engine, dude. This is the most gangster KA ever. Like, the head is poured in. This thing has so much headwork in it, and the bottom end's all piston rod cool, cranks all balanced. It's a sick head. Talk about it later on, but for now, you guys know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, stay tuned for more content, and we'll see you guys very shortly.